Welcome to Chalk Talk Season 11. I'm Chris Love.
And I'm John Storck.
John Storck is our brand new co-host of Chalk Talk. Storck, who graduated from Hobart William Smith College in 2005, part of that double national championship winning team race and co-eds in the same year, who then went on to coach Dartmouth and has just finished his tenure there last spring. John, we're super stoked to have you on the program. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I'm really excited to bridge into this part of college sailing. College sailing is still a passion of mine. I love it. I obviously spent a long time in it as a sailor and a coach, and I'm happy to follow my younger brother, Eric, not only to Dartmouth, but then now to Chalk Talk as well.
Yeah, a couple of other changes. As you can see, a brand new set. I'm in the Chris Love Productions World Headquarters in Wellesley, Massachusetts. And John, you don't look like you're on a soundstage. Where are you?
No, I'm at the very bright and sunny early morning Eastport Yacht Club in Annapolis, Maryland. I'm here sailing the J80 World Championship, and it's pretty light. Supposed to be pretty light most of this week, and lots of early morning postponements. So we're squeezing it in here. Hopefully we get a little more breeze this afternoon, but right now it's about as glassy as it gets.
Have you ever wondered why it's so important to be a member of U.S. Sailing? We are all U.S. Sailing, from beginners to experts, from one-design sailors to offshore cruisers, and from instructor trainers to race officials. U.S. Sailing supports all types of sailors in countless ways. Where would sailing be without instruction and safety standards? Where would we be without Learn to Sail programs? Join or renew today to support these resources and ensure sailing remains a lifetime activity for everyone.
One thing that has not changed is our wonderful support, U.S. Sailing, who brings you the U.S. Sailing College Membership Program, back once again as our presenting sponsor, and Zim Sailing, our supporting sponsor, makers of the new Zim 15, which we'll hear about a little later in the program. So John, a little bit of a new format here. We're kind of just winging it, no script. We're not doing as many segments as we've done before. We want to get really into some issues in college sailing. We want to hear from your expertise. This is really more like a podcast. And in fact, this year we are available on Apple iTunes. You can download us. Just search for Chalk Talk, College Sailing Chalk Talk, and download us, subscribe to us, and you can listen to us on the way to work, on the way to practice, on the way home. John, this week we want to talk about college sailing in the fall. A pretty unique thing. It's a long season. We've got some different things going on than the spring, which is basically just all team racing, women's, and then the spring nationals. You're a coach. Tell us some of your thoughts on what's up with the college season in the fall.
You know, for the most part, the results don't matter until you get to, you know, single-handed nationals, match race nationals, and the Atlantic Coast or Pacific Coast championships in the fall. For the most part, it doesn't really matter. Now, that's not to say the fall doesn't matter, especially coming from, you know, the school that I went to and the school that I coached for a long time. The fall is incredibly important for our kind of development and improving on skills, because our spring, we tend to get a little cut short on practice time. So the fall is incredibly important for development, especially for new sailors, freshmen coming in. But otherwise, the results don't really matter, and it's kind of a unique season as well, because we're obviously dealing with different disciplines, match racing and keel boats and lasers, obviously. And as a coach, from a coach's perspective, I spent a long time, 9 years up at Dartmouth, coaching, and to be perfectly honest, the world of match racing and lasers, I was pretty adamant that it didn't really belong in college sailing, and it was just kind of a waste of our time, and it was getting in the way of something else that we did so well, which is the traditional fleet racing and team racing of double-handed dinghies. But you know, a couple weeks ago, I was able to practice one day with the Dartmouth match race team, and it was actually pretty awesome to see them do something that, you know, a handful of the kids had not really spent a lot of time on a boat like a J22, and, you know, learning how to, you know, have really good, not just proficient, but really good sets, jives, takedowns, all that boat handling stuff that you learn in keel boats. it was cool to see them really enthused about something that they hadn't really done before. And that kind of potentially changed my mind of my earlier stance.
The Zim 15 is moving dinghy sailing forward as the first performance dinghy to hit the market in 2 decades. Designed specifically for team racing and short courses, the Zim 15 is turning heads with its sleek look and advanced systems. The carbon rig and laminated sails make the Zim 15 a light air rocket that is easily depowered as the breeze builds. The Zim 15 is the boat clubs have been asking for to attract a college and post-college sailor.
And I think that, you know, these different disciplines could kind of be a really good thing for some kids in college sailing, because it gives them kind of an open mind for how to maybe stay in the sport after graduation, which obviously nowadays you go anywhere and that's topic number one for sailors all over the country is, you know, the fact that we are struggling with numbers. I'm here at this J80 World Championship. There's only like 32 boats. I know the J70 is doing well, but you go all over the place and it seems numbers are kind of tough. And if, you know, different disciplines in the fall kind of open college sailors' eyes to what could be possible after college, then maybe we should keep it.
Well, what it certainly gets them ready for is the fact that sailing in this country is really segmented. Exactly what you're talking about here. The J80 is great, but the J70 is better. And the Melgus 24 is an alternative, and the 32 is a step up. And then there's the scows, and then there's kind of a million places to take a small number of sailors. Isn't that exactly the same problem for college sailing, though? I mean, we've got a limited pool of talent. We've got a limited number of weekends. And, you know, how can we be, we can't be all of sailing. We can't have skiffs. We can't have boards, you know, and do dinghies and do all these things well.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chris, and that gets back to my coaching perspective. From a coach's perspective, I hated the match racing and laser stuff. It really just, yeah, it seemed like it got in the way. And you know, for a while, we didn't really have anybody qualified to participate in those disciplines, and it actually made our lives easier. We just focused on fleet racing and team racing, and it proved to be successful for us. But we weren't even participating in those other disciplines. Now, you know, the team that I've left, they've got a little more talent in those disciplines, and they're trying to put their best foot forward in those disciplines. But yeah, I mean, I get that argument, and you know, and that's something else too. There seems to be a bit of a mindset nowadays where, you know, college sailing is super professionalized and competing at a super high level, and I think that's terrific. You know, from the time you and I were in college, and more so before that, you know, if you compare college sailing and the way it operated then until now, it's like, you know, it's night and day. And I think it's definitely better for the sport that college sailing is the way it is now. That said, I think sometimes a lot of the participants in college sailing today, they get used to this professionalized nature, and then after school they feel like, well, if I can't put together like a really professional program, then I'm just not going to go sailing, and you know, that could be a problem. And so, you know, I get what you're saying. The segmentation is kind of difficult, and you know, maybe college sailing is more of a venue for this truly professionalized racing, but we've got to come up with other ways to keep kids right out of school, like keep them sailing, and have them have an understanding that, like, you know, it doesn't matter if you don't have like the most professional program lined up for the weekend. Just get out and go sailing.
Yeah, but that's what club teams are for. And that's, you know, so I'm not going to tell anybody who's got a club team what kind of sailing to participate in. I mean, the fact is, just go sailing, get as much participation and have as much fun as possible. That's what it's for. But to have a national championship for match racing, where, you know, you spend 1 or 2 weekends preparing, you have your district championship, and then you go, and surprise, you know, it's won by someone who's got 3 Gov Cups under their belt and has the World Tour in mind. And the preparation that they got had nothing to do with college. That was all stuff that they did in junior sailing. Same with single hands. You know, we hype up these triple division, quad division events, the single-handed championship, and yeah, the best laser sailor in the country wins, but it had nothing to do with college sailing. That kid is going to go on and have an Olympic campaign. You know, it had nothing to do with the coaching and the teammates that they got in college sailing. I mean, college sailing prides itself on having the very best team racing in the world. These guys come out of college sailing, go to the Hinman, which we'll hear about in a few minutes, and then they can go and win team race worlds. But learning to match race, sail J22s in college, learning to sail a laser if you're doing it for the first time, that's not going to take you anywhere in sailing. It just muddies the waters, I think, between a varsity top level situation and a club, let's go sailing, let's have fun kind of deal.
Yep, I think that's a pretty good argument, Chris. I guess, I guess what I'm saying is, maybe my experience with the Dartmouth match race team a couple weeks ago, maybe that didn't really change my mind on the importance or lack thereof of having a national championship in these disciplines in the fall, but it maybe changed my mind on just having these disciplines kind of there for kids to broaden their horizons. I think having some other options to put our kids and get them kind of open to things, specifically like the Storm Tri-Sail Big Boat Regatta is a great one. I know there's hundreds of kids that go to that regatta every fall, and a lot of the high-end varsity coaches, for good reason, don't send their kids there because it doesn't really match up with what they're doing. But I think that does open kids' eyes to what else is out there after college.
Absolutely. I've been to that regatta, and that is a stellar, unbelievable regatta that prepares you really well for how to go sailing at a yacht club, how to get a big boat program going, and how to have a ton of fun over a couple of days. And I encourage that. But I do think that we need to look at the national championship system, look at the schedule, and you know what? They're doing it. And we're going to hear a lot more about it this season. The winter meeting, I think, this year should be an interesting one, and we can get into that. We'd also love to hear from you guys, all of our followers out there. This year we're going to be amping up our social media efforts. I know we've said it in the past, but this year we're really going to be there. We'd love to get your voice in the conversation. You can find us on Facebook at College Sailing Chalk Talk. You can find us at ICSA Chalk Talk. And you can also email us anytime you need to at chalktalk@ChrisLoveProductions. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, questions for us, and we'll continue this discussion going forward. As I mentioned, the Hinman Trophy, the team racing U.S. National Championship put on by U.S. Sailing every year, happened just this past weekend in Zim 15s up at Marblehead. I was on site, and a familiar face from Chalk Talk was there as well. Katie Nastro has our regatta report.
Hi everybody, I'm Katie Nastro reporting for Chalk Talk. We are here at the Hinman Regatta in Marblehead, Mass. I'm here with Seppi McAdams from College of Charleston and sailing for College of Charleston, the team. So it's a 1-for-1 right now.
Yes, we're all still in school. This is basically the competing team for the College of Charleston right now.
Great, so you guys have sailed together before?
Yeah, lots. Okay. Last year.
So Seppi, tell me a little bit about sailing this regatta versus sailing in college.
I think this regatta is really cool because we have a chance to sail against the alumni and a lot of really, really good competitors that we wouldn't get a chance to sail against in a college regatta.
Do you feel the level of competition is greater than college, or is pretty on par?
Yeah, I think it is a little more competitive, but we're also much more relaxed here, which I think makes a huge difference. We're sailing a lot better when there's not really much pressure. I guess it's a lot more fun, and
you're having fun.
Yes.
Good. Some other activities having fun or sailing fun?
Well, I've actually been going to bed at 9:30 every night, so I know. Lame.
He's a good kid. Good kid right here. Well, Seppi, thanks so much, and you will see Seppi on Chalk Talk.
Yay.
We're from Stanford. All of us are teammates there. We just wanted to come for a little bit of practice. We're called the Wall because at practice last year against our seniors, one of our teammates, Antoine, was super into trying out this theory called the Wall during the starts. So everyone on the team found it really funny, so we adapted it for our team name this year. All of us, it's kind of a secret. I don't know if I should reveal it. Basically, we create a wall to try and block out our opponents. Vaguely. I'll just leave it at that. It's a work in progress, so it's a hit or miss. We felt like having a little more team race practice early in the year against some really good teams would be awesome for us versus just doing another fleet race, which there are tons of in the fall. We wanted to kind of see where we were weak and kind of start focusing on that earlier in the fall, so we can strengthen team racing for the spring.
Since there's not very much team racing in the fall, I think this is really good regard to kind of keep my head and focus on what's going on in the spring.
I have to say, like, just being out here with all it's like college sailors and recent college grads, team racing in the fall, it's a gorgeous day. Doesn't get much better than this.
I think seeing people that you haven't seen in a long time, and something different than college sailing, which is always a fun little twist.
Thanks, Katie, for that great little bit of interviews from the Hinman. Hinman's obviously a great event. I was fortunate enough to sail it a bunch of times, and obviously, like is being presented here, there's a ton of college teams now participating in the Hinman, and that's kind of a result of a number of things, but it's definitely helping those teams. And it's really cool that they're getting that opportunity. They're getting into the regatta and they're making the most out of that weekend. And from a coach's perspective, it's obviously a little tricky, from just the administrative side. Like, how do you go to a non-college sanctioned regatta, non-ICSA sanctioned regatta for a weekend with your team? Do you send a coach? Do you not send a coach? Coach can't really do anything. So there's some tricky stuff involved, but at the end of the day, I think most of these coaches are choosing to do it and just to, ignore those challenges, because it is absolutely the best opportunity for their team to progress in that discipline during the fall season.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really like the way this event is going. This is the youngest average age I've ever seen. I was kind of blown away. I'm used to seeing people from my generation, class of 2007, 6, 5. But the oldest sailor there was Justin Law. And he actually is he and his ladies and gentlemen team with Michael Menninger and others from that generation, 2-time champions, but their toughest competition was straight out of college, and it was really interesting to see those guys know the game probably better than anybody else, but the college teams have the best boat handling. They're coming out fresh, obviously because number of hours on the water, they're spending time doing it. So it's really great, I think, from both perspective, a win-win for the Hinman Trophy and for the college sailors who participate. So I hope to see that more in the future. All right, well, I think we're wrapping up here. It's been a fun season premiere. So glad to have you on board, John.
Yeah, Chris. Like I said at the beginning, it's awesome to be here, and I'm looking forward to a fun season.
Thanks again to our presenting sponsor, US Sailing, with support from Zim Sailing. We've got 7 more episodes this season, taking you right up to the Match Race National Championship, wrapping out the fall. So stay tuned. Subscribe to us on YouTube and on the iTunes Store, downloading us as a podcast. Have a good one. Sail fast.